And welcome back to another episode of the Pulse of Fins Nation. I am your host, Louis Song, and joining me, as always, is my good friend Ron Caniff. So after what you saw last night, how are you feeling, sir?
Feeling pretty good, man. I mean, feeling as good as I was before.
Exactly. I'm honestly feeling even better than I was before. So we're going to get into all the takes that have been going on Twitter. I asked you all to say, hey, give me your takes about last night, and we're going to get into that. Before that, really quick, I'm just going to go ahead and say one more time that this episode of Pulse of Fins Nation is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. So get into the fantasy sports world without having to deal with all the grueling research and make the best team possible. Using Thrive Fantasy, they'll let you focus on the top tier athletes, choose 10 of the available 20 players to build your lineup. There's a fantasy value attached to the over or under on all of these players, and you'll be able to get a share of the prize pool based on which content you choose. So all you have to do is you just go and you follow the link, and you'll be able to get yourself set up. They'll match up to $100 on your deposit. You could take home at least a maximum of $20,000 on their based on their featured contest on week 1 of the 2021 season. So, or if you want, you can also sign up using the promo code Dolphins. Like I said, they will match up to $100 on your deposit. Go ahead and download Thrive Fantasy on the app or on the Play Store, and you can visit thrivefantasy.com to get started, sign up, and prop up today. Okay, so got that out of the way. Now we're going to go ahead and get into some actual football here. So I'm going to have Manny put up the tweet, the source tweet, shall we say, where basically everybody was talking about what's been going on. JP wants to know, where is Royal Shepherd? Royal isn't here, although if enough of you clamor for him, maybe we can arrange for him to make an appearance. You got to get on him and say, hey, Royal, you need to get on Pulse of Fins Nation. I'll be more than happy to let him on. Absolutely.
There's nothing like coming on a show where people are asking, where's the other guy?
Exactly. You know what?
I'm just saying.
It's like, who are you? Where's Roy? I'm like, this is my show. What are you talking about? So anyway, awesome. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. So we have plenty of comments to go on. This first one is from our own 5 Reasons Sports contributor, Matthew Perdomo. I basically asked, what are you guys takes on last night? I want to hear it. So Matthew says, Tua has all the weapons to succeed: receivers, backs, scheme, and of course himself. But we're one injury away from this blowing up. If Waddle or Tua get injured, it's over. And this O-line still needs a ton of help. Doesn't matter how good Tua is or how good his weapons are. He needs better protection. Okay, so I don't disagree. I don't disagree that the offensive line is going to essentially decide this whole thing. But to say that the season is over, if something happens to Waddle, let's put it this way: if something happens to Waddle,
which for about 5 minutes last night,
for 5 minutes,
we lived in that reality because it looked like his season was over. The way,
that's what it looked like for sure. Yeah, but I will say this: I don't think the season is over if something happens to Waddle. Now, if something happens to Tua, then we have a different story on our hands.
Agreed. Yeah, I think I think what you're looking at last night and before and in practice lately is you're considering it's Waddle and then last year's guys, right? We're not considering Wilson, Fuller, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to get those guys back. I think they're being extra cautious. Obviously, we won't have Fuller week 1, but I know you roll your eyes when I say extra cautious, but I think we're going to get Williams back eventually. I don't know what the plan is with him, but it's going to be a completely revamped wide receiving core to include Waddle, and Waddle definitely makes it better. It's a hit without Waddle, but if you take last night's group and then all of a sudden you remove Waddle, yeah, that's a problem. I mean, it's last year. It's just last year with a better Tua. That's period. That's where the team is.
But you know what, Ron? That better Tua made everything else function really well.
It's making a huge difference, no doubt.
But that's the thing, though. So again, if something happens to Waddle, that's why I say if something happens to Waddle, or heck, if we even get last year's receiving core back out there again, I really feel like that the way that this offense is functioning right now, you really could throw out anybody out there, and it would basically be the same deal. It would, because the fact that Tua now knows where he's going with the football, the fact that now you have the situation where everybody seems to be able to get open through scheming and not so much, let me just push off and I have to get open that way. Everything seems to have changed for the better on that front, and that helps a lot. So I don't think if we had this Tua last season, things would have been turned out better.
I think it's interesting too. If you looked at week 1, I saw Tua make a lot of really good over the top throws. They were deeper throws, a little bit tighter coverage, just one-on-one matchups, and he was just putting it into those spots. This time it was more scheme. It was, guys crossing, hitting the seam route, 5, 6, 7 yards in. It was just a different kind of look. I don't know if that was, we're going to try something different in this game, if it was just take what the defense gives you situation. It was interesting. I know they're not even coming close to really displaying what the team's going to actually look like. We know that some of the guys in camp are stating that the offense looks very exciting, much more so than even we're seeing. So I'm excited, man. I'm done with the preseason. I'm ready. I'm ready to get to the regular season, see what this looks like.
All right, going back to the chat room, just have to point this out. Alfredo Artiaga, thank you for the $3.33 donation. Eichenberg looks better to me as a right tackle than a left guard. I'm inclined to agree with you. And of course, I'm going to agree with Alfredo. He knows more about football than I've ever. He's forgotten more football than I'll ever know.
Absolutely.
Liam Eichenberg last night, he looked solid. He never had a moment where it looked like he was losing ground. Now I get it. He came in once the backups were playing more, but of all the offensive linemen that we had, Eichenberg still looked like the best guy out of the bunch as far as just being solid in his stance. He was able to make sure that he didn't lose much ground, and if he did make a mistake, he made up for it in a hurry, and that's a really good sign for the Miami Dolphins offensive line. I still think that the best course of action, I don't think this is what they'll do, but I think the best course of action would be continue to try to develop Austin Jackson at left tackle, and in spite of his struggles. Solomon Kinley is the left guard. At this point, it looks like Michael Dieter is the best center we've got, which is kind of surprising.
I mean, he's not doing bad, though. Honestly, he's not doing bad. The story we're not really talking about is Dieter 2 weeks in a row really hasn't been. I mean, I know we're saying we're getting excited about hasn't been horrible, but he hasn't been horrible. Right. He's been all right. He's been better than I thought he would be, say the least.
Mm-hmm. And also we're going to, again, Jesse Davis is the starting right tackle. I hope it's not a permanent thing. I really don't, because I really don't want that to be the norm for the season.
He's very average there. I mean, he's just kind of, I guess he's somewhat safe, but a little scary.
Yep.
But I think that's why they're doing it. It's just that it's to his blind sides. They're going to put the safest option there. They know it's not the
Jesse
future.
Davis is not the best
hopefully
option.
Eichenberg really is the future, but we'll see. And I know Austin Jackson, they're leaving at left tackle for now. If anybody, I think they're going to work through it, quote unquote. It seems like Austin Jackson's the one. They drafted him in the first round. They're going to stick with it unless it just completely starts to lose them games.
Yeah, that would be bad. I'm going to go ahead and go over in the rest of the chat. My father, Louis Sung Sr., all you have to do to get royal is to talk about Devontae Parker. Yeah. Okay, so you guys, I'm gonna call you out a little bit on this, Ron. You and the rest of my buddies in the chat room, we're all talking about how Devontae Parker, if anybody could be traded, it would be Parker. And that prompted me to bring up my previous take on during the post-game show last night, and everybody jumped on me because I had been saying this for a while, and they all say that I'm absolutely out of my mind to ever want to trade Parker. And I never said that I wanted to trade Parker, by the way, just for the record. All I said was that if you were going to trade anybody to make room for someone else, the only one worth trading would be Parker. So that was my only take.
I agree. I think if you pick everybody, I think the one you could get the most for probably would be Parker, in my opinion. Yeah, I think he would give you the most value. And his replacement, a couple of guys are on this team right now in Hollins, and if we can get him back on the field, Williams. I mean, if we have Hollins and Williams on the field, we could part with Parker and maybe get a 3rd round pick or something. I would take it.
I'm just going to say, and I'm going to say this, and Manny might pop in here to disagree with me again. I don't know. But I feel like part of this whole no trade Parker thing is more about just find any means necessary to get rid of Jakeem Grant, because that's what the guys at Five, everybody except me, I'm the only one who's like a Jakeem Grant apologist anymore, because everybody else is like, I want him gone. I don't want him. Get him out of here.
Is that how you feel about keeping Grant? Like,
no, I don't.
Who gets that excited about anything to do with football?
I don't.
That picture from Marshall.
If they keep Grant or not, It's not going to really make much of a difference to me. It's just that we're acting like Grant is such garbage. That's the thing that bugs me about it. It's like we're making believe that Jakeem Grant is suddenly this horrible football player when not a year earlier he was doing amazing things, and then as soon as he dropped that one deep pass from Tua, it was like that was it. It was the unforgivable sin. Like, get over yourselves. The other players have had drops. We're not suddenly throwing them to the wolves. It's like, we still want Preston Williams. Hello. How many drops did he have?
He still seems to have them in some inopportune times. I guess it sticks in your head. Like, I'm still thinking about the Kenny Stills drop in week 1 against Seattle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's an awful drop for you.
It's like not all drops were created equal.
All right. So moving right along, Justin Janes says, going to be tough, but not impossible for Tua to strike much past 25 yards if the offensive line can't give him more time, which would suck since we have the skills to hit deep balls. All right. 25. Okay. So basically what it is that you're wanting is Tua to like heave up like look up into the sky, aim his arm right up there, and just rocket it out there. That's basically what it is. When did deep balls have to become 50-yard bombs? I guess that's because that's what makes the highlight reel. But that Mike Gesicki throw, I consider that a deep pass for real. Like, I understand that there's tier levels to all this. Like, oh, here's the short pass, here's the intermediate pass, here's the deep pass. Anything over 20 yards in the air, for me, that is more than enough for me to be happy, for real.
Yeah, I mean, throwing in anything beyond 15, 20 yards is definitely pushing the ball downfield, but I would agree that this offensive line makes it a little scary to set up something where you're actually trying to throw the ball 30, 40 yards downfield. It's the time it's going to take to set that all up just may not exist. You don't know if that offensive line is going to hold. Week 1, we're going to play a pretty good defensive front in New England, and they're gonna be ready for us. They're gonna be ready for Tua. They're well coached, good players. So I don't know that you're going to see a lot of those kind of shots. I think you're going to see a lot more of what we did last night. A combination maybe what we kind of did last night and then what we did against the Bears, depending.
But see, that's the thing, though, Ron. Do you need anything more than that?
No,
do you
absolutely
have
not.
To take that shot
you don't have
in order for the offense to work? You don't have
to throw it 50 yards in the air to be successful, but it's nice to be able to take those shots, if nothing else, to let the other team know that you're willing to do it, so that they have to think about it, especially with the speed we have. Assuming your boy Grant stays, you can imagine seeing Grant, Wilson, and Waddle on the field at the same time.
Will Fuller,
or even just Fuller, Wilson, and Waddle on the field at the same time in 11 personnel, in 3 wide receiver set. And you want to be able to at least let them think that you might take that shot. If they get to a point where they know you're never going to try and throw it deep on them, they're going to defend you differently, and it's going to make it
let
harder.
Let them defend them that way, and then he can
it's
go.
Going to make it harder.
Anyway.
It's going to make it harder to complete and run the offense that you want to run. That's the 15, 20 yarders in the middle of the field.
Well, that's what. So if they decide to start cheating on defense and try to get in that box to make it harder for Tua to throw his favorite routes, then at that point, all you got to do is send Will Fuller 1-on-1 down the field, and that's the end of it. That's it. It's done.
There you go.
There you go. So what's the issue? You don't. I don't believe that you have to have 5 seconds of offensive line blocking to get that deep pass, because if you don't have to throw it, a deep pass doesn't have to be throw it as hard as you physically can. It's also just lob it up, and it's gonna fly anyway. So if you can just lob it up enough that Will Fuller can turn around and just pick it up and get it, that's a deep pass too. You don't need that much more time.
And just one more comment. Tua's favorite pass, I would say, aren't the deep passes. Tua's favorite passes are the 10-yarders that are thrown in a space about this big to a guy on the run who's going to take off down the middle of the field. That's Tua's favorite pass. I mean, that's what he threw. That's what he lived off of in Bama.
All right. Just going to really quickly acknowledge this. Manny Fernandez, there's a name for you. Are you two doing the show from home? Yes, we are. Have we taken a picture together? We have in the past, but
long time ago
when I gave you the Cuban experience. Yeah, I know, Alfredo. Boo on Trading Parker. Yeah, I know. I never said to trade him. I said if you were going to trade anybody, the only one of value is him. We've already gone over this.
Agreed.
Okay, so
I agree with you on that one. I don't know that they'll trade him, but I think
they're not going to trade him. I don't want them to, but
they're in this to win. They want to keep their talent on the team. I think the X situation showed us they're going to do what they need to do to keep the talent on the team this year. It's no longer rebuilding and getting picks. They want to win.
That's fine. I'm good with that. Anyway, so from our good friend Jason Sarney, Myles Gaskin and Savon Ahmed are legit 1-2 running back punch. Maybe that's why they didn't draft a running back in the top few rounds or break the bank in free agency for one. Again, I was the one who wanted to draft Najee Harris, and I know, Ron, that you being the Alabama guy, you know what he can do, but I get it. Gaskin is running with a lot of, I guess you could say, anger. There's a lot of effort in the way that he runs the football, and Savon Ahmed, I think he kind of made Matt Breida almost expendable, because when Breida was available pretty much all of last season, and they just left him there. They just left him on an island, didn't do anything with him. We were always wondering, where's Breida? And then we have Savon Ahmed, who he's not as fast as Breida, but he is shifty. He hits the hole hard. And that's something that he's fast. He's faster than Gaskin. He really is. Or at least he looks like he's faster than Gaskin.
Yeah, I would say on the field, he does look faster than Gaskin. I remember hearing something. Oh God, I don't remember where I heard it. Might have been 3 yards per carry, where they were mentioning that Ahmed ran kind of a slow 40, but it seemed like maybe he just had an injury or something, and then that's why that this guy's really more like. Well, they all say they're 4.3 speed, but this guy's more in the 4.35 speed category, and he looks like it on the field anyway. I'll give him that. Gaskin's underrated. We always just kind of think, Gaskin, but then he gets on the field, and I see, oh yeah, Gaskin. You know what I mean? I'm okay with the running back. I don't know yet. Let's see what this season brings. Last year, Gaskin surprised us. We had Breida. We had was Jordan. I can't remember the other guy's name from the Eagles. And we thought those were going to be our 1-2 punch, the Thunder and the Lightning. Remember, we were talking about that last offseason. Those guys are going to be the Thunder and the Lightning. And lo and behold, neither one of them worked out worth a crap. And all of a sudden, we got Gaskin coming out of nowhere, 7th round pick 2 years before, or the year before at the time. And then Ahmed out of nowhere. And it just, you just don't know sometimes. But
yeah, Ahmed came out of nowhere. He really
I'm
did.
okay with those guys. I hope that Brown can at least be reliable in short goal line situations, though. I guess they'll just go with Gaskin in short goal line situations if they have to, but we'll see.
So there's Alfredo basically bringing it up. Ahmed ran 4.62 at the combine, but was hurt. He said he runs a 4.3, which means he actually runs a 4.4.
So I did get that from 3 yards per carry. All right, thanks, Alf.
No, there you go. All right. So going to the next tweet, it was just up there. Manny removed it a second ago. So it was from Mike Thompson. Rhythm is a dancer, and so is Tua. No, he danced around the pocket like he was amazing in that little performance. Again, he was dodging defender. The way that he was able to get away from that one sack for at least for a little while. After he got away from that first sack, I was almost starting to get Super Bowl Eli Manning vibes, how he miraculously got out of there and somehow managed to throw the ball. That was the missing part, though. He didn't actually get to throw it. He still eventually got sacked, but still, what an escape that first time.
I tweeted this a couple days ago, and then I retweeted it yesterday stating, I feel even more comfortable about this comment, and I'll kind of paraphrase the tweet. Look, I'm a huge Tana stan. I'll admit it. I love Tannehill. I think he's a really great quarterback. I think we messed up
on this.
And I think right now that Tannehill's still probably a little better than Tua overall. But with the offensive line situations we have right now, Tua's pocket presence is clearly it's almost elite. I mean, it really almost elite. The guy just has a knack for feeling where and when the pressure is coming and knowing how to escape out of it. He absolutely does. We're seeing it multiple times, and we need that right now because this offensive line isn't playing where we'd like him to be playing. So I feel much more comfortable with a guy like Tua, and I don't know that there are a lot of guys like Tua that it wasn't anything I really even noticed at Bama, because at Bama, they had such a stout offensive line. He wasn't back there having to dance a lot, but the guy has definitely has pocket awareness. It's really going to come in handy this season, but for his entire career. I mean, he has really good feet in the pocket. And remember, I'm not saying Tua's Marino, but you don't have to be fast or elusive to have great feet and know how to move in the pocket, because Marino was one of the best.
Zero from Look Rizzle. 0 rollouts, all pocket plays, unless I missed one the last 2 games. He did roll out once, but that was the time that he scrambled, and he took a page out of. It's from Look Rizzle, by the way. If you're looking in the chat room, there was that one play, and I had been asking Tua to run more because I want him to be able to show that he's willing to take off. But clearly, he took a page out of the Ryan Fitzpatrick playbook, and he didn't. He wanted to dive head first.
He dived. That had to drive Flo crazy in a preseason game, especially.
Like, you have to be imagining it's like Tua's like, I'm going to have to spank that boy after this is over. It's like, let me find me something to beat you with. What the hell are you doing over there, diving headfirst into defenders in a preseason game?
Yeah, you don't like to see it. I mean, Tua can run. Obviously, he's not the fastest guy. I mean, he's no Kyler Murray, but he can run. You know, he'll take off when he needs to, but he's always looking downfield to make the throw, which is what you want your quarterback.
I'm good with that, but I just want him to show that he can. Like, don't let the defense start to sleep on him, because as soon as they like get this idea that he's not going to run, then they can start to cheat on that. They don't need a linebacker to spy on him. They don't need to do all that stuff. They can focus on other things. Tua showing that, hey, don't forget I have legs, forces the defense to cheat a little bit. It's like, okay, we have to be careful because he can easily take off for an extra first down. That's why running quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, they're so dangerous, because they can throw it, but at any second, if you lose containment, he's going to take off and get 20 yards on you. So you have to be careful.
Yes, agreed. But I think they'll just, if somebody's defending Tua, if I'm the Patriots or the Bills and I'm preparing for Tua, I'm going to let him have his 1 or 2 9-yard runs that he happens to scamper for. There's enough things to prepare for with our offense without trying to figure out, is all of a sudden Tua going to be the next coming of Lamar Jackson? Probably not how they're going to defend him, which means, to your point, there'll be some opportunities to run. So when the opportunity's there, take it, but please slide. Thanks.
Yes, please slide. Yeah, my father misses Tim Ruddy. Yes, he absolutely does.
I miss Larry Zonka, but we got to play with the guys we got now.
All right. From Matt Miller, I believe it was the next tweet that was on the screen. Liam Eichenberg is our best offensive tackle. I can't really argue.
It's not really saying much right now.
I mean,
unfortunately,
it's not saying much, but at the same time, I can't really refute it either. Because of all the tackles that we had last night, the best looking one of the whole bunch, it really was Eichenberg. Now, granted, Eichenberg wasn't playing against the starters for the most of the night. He was playing against the backups, while Austin Jackson and Jesse Davis, they had to play against most of the starters. 7 starters officially logged snaps last night on defense. So there were at least 5. There were at least 4 guys for the Falcons. Yes, for the Falcons, which means at least 4 guys were considered backups on that defensive group.
And those were some of their better players who don't need the snaps. They're playing the Grady guys Jarrett. Who do need the snaps. So, you can only play in preseason. You can only play the guys that are in front of you. Every single team, that's the situation. Not all the starters are usually playing. They're playing vanilla schemes anyway. They're not showing their hand, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. They're trying some stuff out there. They're looking to see if their guys could just execute, can win one-on-one matchups. It's a completely different world in the preseason than the regular season. Everybody knows that. That's why I'm just ready to get on with the preseason. I'm ready to go to 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games myself. But
do you think they go for that?
Yeah, eventually I think that happens. But I don't think
the players go for that.
Oh, will the players go for that? I don't know. Depends on what they say. What's written in their CBA, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure.
All right, so from Till, when we get Wilson, Parker, and Fuller back, we have a top 15 offense. So as far as I know, Wilson, Parker, and Fuller are already ready to go. Again, they were sprinting down the field during the warm-ups and everything before the game, so I was thinking, oh, maybe they'll play. No, they didn't play. I get it. They're saving him. They want them guys to be healthy. But for real, at some point, you just have to be like, listen, these guys need to do something. You know, they were showcasing Jalen Waddle last night, the shiny new first-round draft pick. Well, what about our shiny new $10 million guaranteed wide receiver? Why isn't he getting some action? Why isn't he showing that, hey, this is what you have to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen? I can do this. But no, they're not doing that. He hasn't even practiced yet all season. He hasn't practiced. Manny, he hasn't even practiced.
Stop.
Yeah, just save the bullets for when when it's a real fight, man.
Thank you, Ron.
This is simunitions right now. Who cares?
Exactly my point.
This is paintball right now.
Let's bitch and complain.
Save the bullets for when it's war. Yeah, man. I like it. I like just keeping them all on the side. Keep everybody guessing. Don't let them know nothing. Don't let New England prepare for crap. Don't let them even have a clue what that's going to look like. Don't let there be one bit, not a speck of film where you see
Ron.
Wilson, Fuller. I know Fuller won't be there week 1, but where you see Wilson, Fuller, Waddle, Parker, Gesicki, Gaskin, Tua on the field at the same time. I don't want them to have an inkling of what that's going to look like. Not even in a preseason game. That's my personal opinion. Let's save it for the show, for the big show. Yeah, I know you disagree, Lewis, but man, it's like preseason doesn't give you as much practice as you really think it does. It's, you know what, playing real football in the regular season does. The whole season isn't week 1. The whole season is game after game after game. They're all going to get plenty of time together coming up pretty soon. And this conversation won't even matter when we're week 4 or 5 down the road. They've played a month together. We know what it looks like. We know what it is or what it isn't. So I'm not worried about it. It's a long season.
It's a long season, but you know what? If this is the stance we're going to take, then I'm just going to say this. I don't want to hear that players need time to prepare, that players need time to learn the offense, to get used to what's happening. Because if we're assuming that Will Fuller can come in cold, no practice, no preseason, no nothing, and immediately light up the field every time they show up, then I don't want to hear that this player needs to learn the offense, that this player needs to get used to what's happening. Because apparently Will Fuller doesn't need any time.
As soon as those practices go behind closed doors to where it's really nobody seeing anything, that's when Fuller and these guys are all going to start practicing together, and stuff that we will never see.
Right. Right. And I get that part.
And there's a 2, if I'm not mistaken, right? There's a 2-week gap after week 3 of the preseason and the regular season, right? You're going to have like a 2 full weeks. Those guys are going to be practicing together. They've been throwing together in the off season. It's going to be fine, man. It's going to be fine. No worries.
Okay. Anyway, next. Man, he's not even paying attention now. He's like tuned me out. It's like, this show is officially over. I don't want to hear Lewis talk anymore. That's it. It's done. Thank you all for joining us. I'm turning it off now. Click. That's the end of the show right there, right?
Well, we need him to at least hit the stop button when it's done, unless you know how to do that. Zachary, I don't know how to say your last name.
Let's go with Allen.
Allen. Okay, yeah, says slants and 9 routes. Yes. I don't know. Is that a question? I'm not sure.
He's basically. I think what
he wants him to do is slants.
I think he's referring to what Will Fuller will be doing.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, Michael Grube, improvement all around. Yes, I completely agree. Not much else to say on that. Yeah, there was pretty much improvement all the way through the whole team, from reserves to the offense, the defense. What else we got? Humberto Bao. I remember Humberto. How are you, Humberto? Super Bowl bound. Huh.
Yeah, a little early for that.
I mean, a
little early to be talking Super Bowl. I mean, that would be exciting. I think we got a really good team. I think we got a chance to have a really, really good team. I think we're looking at a playoff team. I think we have a shot to win a game, maybe 2 in the playoffs. But I think we're looking at a playoff team for sure.
All right. From Nicholas, what I wanted to see the offensive line look like it's good enough. Okay, good enough against the Falcons that are not a very difficult defense to face, to be perfectly honest.
Good enough against the Falcons. Is it good enough against the Patriots and the Bills? We'll see.
Against the Bills, no. Patriots, maybe. We'll see.
I think I'm
not scared of the Patriots anymore.
I know people aren't scared of the Patriots, but I got to be honest with you. That week 1 matchup has me nervous for a multitude of reasons, which I'm sure we'll get into on a future show.
I'm not scared of New England. I'm just not. I know what you've been talking about. Just for the record, ladies and gentlemen, Ron's basically been saying that the double tight end set is going to.
Dude, they didn't go get the top 2 free agent tight ends to sit them. They're going to be in that 12 personnel set all day. But it's not even the throwing out of it that I'm most nervous about. I am nervous about that. I'm more nervous about the advantage it gives them running the ball. Like the advantage it gives them running the ball out of that 12 personnel. Man, that's like,
listen.
Josh McDaniel has been trying to get back to this since the days of Gronk and Hernandez. I mean, that's just a fact. That's what he's been trying. Now, I'm not going to sit there and tell you that Smith and Henry are Gronk and Hernandez. No, they are not. But that's their version of it. They're going to get back to what he's wanted to do for years, what he hasn't been able to do in a decade. And they want to run and throw the ball out of 12 personnel all day. It puts a lot of pressure on linebackers, on the strong safety. You need Eric Rowe to lock down either Smith or Henry, one or the other. You're going to need somebody on the other guy. You got backs coming out of the backfield. And then, of course, you always have the slot receiver in New England's offense. That's wreaking havoc in the middle of the field when you've got tight ends running routes and running backs running routes out of 12 personnel. It's really, really tough to defend. It's even for a good defense like Miami. And it doesn't exactly necessarily play into our wheelhouse, into our secondary. It's all kind of midfield, shorter, the linebackers, the safeties a little bit. It's tough, man. It is a tough offense to run if they can run it right. So yeah, I'm nervous about it. I'm not going to lie, but I said, we'll get into it.
First, from Hassam, another reason why having Holland and Rowe will help, who are good run defenders near the line of scrimmage. I'm going to
100%, by the way. That is absolutely true. Rowe and Holland will be crucial in defending Brandon New England with what they want to do. Brandon Jones too. I mean, I just hope that, I don't know. You never know. They could go start trying to throw the ball down, downfield to the wide receivers all of a sudden. New England,
but their idea is to use Cam Newton the way they use Tom Brady. I don't care if Cam is looking better now than he did before. He's still not Tom Brady. He's never going to be Tom Brady. That's not his game. I'm not scared of him.
It's not, but still, it's the design of the offense. I imagine if Cam is good enough to run it, we'll see. But
yeah, I'm more worried about him running on us than I am about him throwing.
And there's always that threat too. Out of 12, anytime you have 12 personnel, it's an advantage to run the ball. That's whether it's with the backs, with the quarterback taking off. It's not going to be an easy game. I want to, like I said, I did that tweet where I want to pound my chest and say screw you to all the haters and beat them 40-0. But that is not going to be an easy matchup.
No,
New England is being way underrated right now. Underrated.
No, it's not going to be easy, and I'll never claim that. New England's always going to be tough, just like somehow miraculously the Jets are usually a tough matchup for us. But what I'm saying is that in years past, we would look at the New England Patriots and just be like, okay, there's your L for the week. But now it's like, no, we actually got a real shot at winning this game. And that doesn't matter if it's New England or if it's in Miami. This team is not as scary as it used to be.
Yeah, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned that, we're going to go in and get smashed. I'm just concerned that as good, we may not look as good as we really will be as the season goes on in that matchup, especially in that matchup. That one has me more concerned than probably just about any game on the calendar. I wish we were playing them any other time besides week 1 in New England. There's horrible timing for that.
Well, I will say this is going to be a test for Tua.
Oh, yeah, that too, because, Bill Belichick will be looking to confuse him, of course, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm less concerned about how our offense does, more concerned about how our defense does. I know that sounds weird, but
yeah, it does.
That's kind of how it sounds weird to say it, but I have I have my reasons,
and that's why I'm looking at the whole defense, Ron, and we're gonna close with this. You're gonna have, of course, Xavier Howard and Byron Jones on the boundary, so that takes care of at least your boundary receivers. You're gonna have probably one of the better slot corners we've had in a while, Justin Coleman.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, Nick Needham is still there and still doing what he does.
Yeah, he's a great boundary guy. Yeah.
And by the way, Jason McCourty spent a lot of time with New England with his twin brother. He knows very well what it is to expect from New England. So there's a little spying. Brian Flores, hello.
Flores does too. Flores at one time was the passing coordinator. I think people don't realize that. They always think about Flores being this defensive guy, and he was. But at one point, he was also the passing coordinator in New England as well.
Right. So if anybody knows how to deal with those two tight end things, it's him. And now, then we have the personnel. that front seven is better than anyone's given credit for. Because right now, again, this is the whole rotation, right? Christian Wilkins. You have Adam Butler, who just came from New England, by the way, and
he looks
penetrating
really
like crazy.
He looks good.
Zach Sealer, who he was signed as a steal. We need to extend him again quick before he starts pulling a Xavier on us.
Don't forget about Raekwon Davis, Roll Tide.
Raekwon Davis, the nose tackle. And then if somehow they get by those guys, Benardrick McKinney's still there. Jerome Baker's
more of a run stuffer. Yeah, Baker's great. Yeah.
But I mean, McKinney, you were saying running the ball. Okay.
Yeah, we've got talent. And then, like I said, he mentioned Holland and Rowe. They're going to be really important.
I'm not worried about the Patriots. I'm just not. All right. So we're going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you very much for joining us. And again, thank you for Thrive Fantasy for sponsoring this show. You can always go to thrivefantasy.com, use the promo code Dolphins, or you can just follow the link in the description. Get yourself started today. All right. With that said, we will see you all next time for another episode, and just keep those comments coming. All right. Bye-bye.
See you.